I see. I've got this comparing the. You know what? It's 9.5 minutes. Let's watch this now, since we're talking about remasters versus originals and all that. I feel like I can't be spoiled a lot, because if he's talking about how the game works and that, then that's a good comparison. But yeah, let's have a look at it, because I'm interested, and I can do it as a bit of a. This is what he said. So then, as I'm playing the remaster, I can go, yes, that's right, or not, or add some points. Yeah. Huh. Okay. Yeah, that's like the System Shock Enhanced Edition. You get the original for free. Yeah, let's do this. I've just decided to do it.
If you remember zooming around with a jetpack, collecting bounties, and causing havoc on the streets of Coruscant, then you grew up playing Star Wars Bounty Hunter, which has just been remastered. And in this video, we're going to compare it to the original version and also see how the game holds
So there are some graphical
up
changes.
in this new iteration. But first, let's set the scene. The original Bounty Hunter was released in late 2002 for the PlayStation 2 and GameCube. It was a third-person action-adventure game which had the player control Jango Fett and his iconic arsenal of weapons and gadgets. The game went on to become a fan favorite and was re-released for the PlayStation 4 in 2016. This was an
That's an interesting comparison between the PS2 and PS4 versions. So we did get more upscale graphics and stuff, even with the PS4 version.
emulated version of the PS2 game. The resolution had a slight bump up, but everything was the same as the original. But on August 1st, 2024, Lucasfilm Games would release an enhanced version of Bounty Hunter for the latest generation of consoles and PC. This remaster was developed by Aspire, who have become known for working on a number of prominent Star Wars remasters.
Yeah, so many of these are great. They released the Heritage Pack as a physical version on the Switch with all of these games, which is great.
Over the years. Unfortunately, their last release was the Battlefront Collection, which wasn't too well received.
Yeah.
But how did they do this time around? Well, straight away, Aspire wanted to make it clear this was a native port, not an emulation. This means that the new version of Bounty Hunter is able to natively run at 60 FPS with resolutions of up to 4K. In addition to that, the graphics themselves have had some modern visual flurries added, like dynamic lighting and shadows, motion blur, and bloom. Now, these are noticeable, especially when compared to the original, but they're not as overbearing as they have been on some other modern remasters like the GTA trilogy. However, if Jango's extra shiny armor isn't your cup of tea, you can always turn these down in the menu. The game still uses most of the original textures, which have been upscaled, and this is a bit of a double-edged sword. It works well for the environments and background elements, in particular on planets like Coruscant, but not so well in cutscenes with close-ups where you're reminded that this is still a 22-year-old game. Now,
Yep, I can see that 100%. Like, their mouths don't even move, bro.
still a 22-year-old game. Now, I'm gonna shut up for a second and just show you a few comparison clips.
Oh, the crate dragon. Yeah, I saw that. Ah, you can't see too well. I'm going over this side, because probably want to see the remaster a bit more. I get a bit more room to see here. Okay, that must be a game yet to come. So they haven't changed the sound effects.
Bounty Hunter's controls have also been overhauled for this new version. Now, the good news is the remaster still...
So, what I'm noticing, it still sounds like a normal blaster. One of the things I was saying, I was just playing Bounty Hunter, was one of the things that they didn't get quite right in the original was the unique sound of the West R34 blaster pistol. Hang on. Is there... Yeah. Okay, yep. That sound effect. When you fire the blasters. That's what I mean with that. He's doing it side by side. So I don't know. I feel like he...
Bounty Hunter's controls have also been overhauled for this new version. Now, the good news is the
It's just your standard blaster pistol sound effect. There's nothing special about it. Whereas the movie made his blaster sound so unique. And I don't know why they didn't use that sound effect.
Remaster still retains its legacy control layout, but if you want a more contemporary experience, then try the modern controls. Once again, it really depends on your preference. The PC version also has mouse and keyboard controls, which actually feel surprisingly intuitive for a game which was originally made for the GameCube. The new version also has several quality of life tweaks, like allowing for the blasters to rapidly fire by holding down the triggers instead of messing up your thumb having to spam the square button. Using the bounty scanner also slows down time, allowing you to hone in on your targets with ease. Plus,
that is actually so much better, because I was finding that I was losing track of so many bounties. Like, I wanted to read the descriptions and then enemies would rock up. Like, come on.
Slows down time, allowing you to hone in on your targets with ease. Plus, the camera controls feel a lot more fluid and natural this time around. But those tweaks aside, the core of the gameplay still hasn't really changed. This is still Bounty Hunter for better or worse. Some of the levels are as frustrating as you remember them, and the NPCs are still as awkward as they've ever been. So, how does this 22-year-old game hold up now that it's had a fresh coat of paint? Well, Bounty Hunter will always be a product of its time. Released to coincide with the home video release of Attack of the Clones, this game's purpose was to flesh out several backstory elements from the movie. Set a decade earlier, it follows Jango Fett as he accepts a bounty from Count Dooku, which has secretly been devised to test his eligibility as a template for the clone army. I won't go into the finer plot details in case you haven't played the game, but the story is actually pretty good, so definitely check it out. The game's opening chapter...
So something noticeable here is they have subtitles throughout all of the cutscenes, rather than the original seeming to have only the Hutties with subtitles, even though I turned subtitles on.
Details in case you haven't played the game, but the story is actually pretty good, so definitely check it out. The game's opening chapter takes place on Outland Station. These levels do a great job of introducing the player to both the game's mechanics and Jango's arsenal of trademark weapons and gadgets.
That's different. So,
and Jango's
you can actually pause time and switch weapons. That makes a big difference to how you play the game.
Arsenal of trademark weapons and gadgets, including the laser cutter, the hook tie, the dart, the double blasters that go pew pew pew, and of course the most dangerous weapon of all, these hands. Jango also has a scanner which he can use to claim bounties. After all, this game did come out at the tail end of Pokemon Fever, so many games at the time had some sort of collecting element. And even after all these years...
But it makes so much sense as a bounty hunter to collect bounties as you go in levels.
Yes, Bounty Hunter does a great job of making you feel like you're in the Star Wars galaxy by throwing in a bunch of familiar aliens as goons. We've got the Gamorreans, the Trandoshans, and the Rhodians right from the start. The levels are linear, but the game does have some fun sandbox elements. For example, in this level, you can either escort the contact to the hideout at gunpoint or just start blasting. Looks like these developers were fans of the Phantom Menace game. I love how they made the protocol droids scream when they get shot. Look, you tie up the Ugnaught and his buddy's like, okay, I'm gonna leave now. As you progress through the game, Jango will acquire more cool weapons and, of course, the one and only jetpack. Now, personally, I've always felt that jetpack ran out of steam a little too early. I know that you can get boosters later on in the game, but it was just so much fun to fly around blasting everything in sight that I wish the jetpack would never run out. I definitely could have used
he died there.
A bit more fuel for this platforming level, but hey, at least the game still gives you plenty of funny moments.
That's part of the issue, is that the jetpack, miss the platform by a little bit, and then you'll run out of jetpack, and then you're going and dying anyway.
Moments like this, when the enemy does a Wilhelm scream and then falls into the abyss. Django then does a trio of levels on Coruscant. Ah, another bounty. Let's get him. God damn it, I pressed the wrong button. Well, I guess I'm bringing him in crispy hot. I love how you can just run around the streets setting civilians on fire and then some of these bystanders don't even bat an eyelash. Ugh, just another day on Coruscant.
That's him, Django. Remember, if you fry this loser, you won't find out who he's working for.
Ah, never mind. Bounty Hunter has one of the best depictions of Coruscant in any Star Wars game. It covers most of the iconic areas, from the nightlife sector to the industrial sector to the upper sector.
That is true. I didn't think of that before. Star Wars 1313 may have covered more if it ever came out, but yeah, 100%. Got a really good way of showing how diverse Coruscant is as well.
That's still true to what we've seen in the movies. And these new visuals really do make the decadent designs and bright colors of the city shine, even if they are a bit flat at times. And all these years later, I'm still terrible at this platforming section in the industrial level. The next chapter takes place on the prison asteroid of Uvo 4, the same Uvo 4 featured in episode 1 Racer. Django infiltrates the prison with the help of his newly acquired rocket launcher, which you should definitely not fire at point blank range. Wait, why are the prisoners and the guards teaming up against me? No, stop! Where's my rocket launcher? That's right, not so brave now. Say hello to my little friend. Damn it, Ognot, can you not walk in the way while I'm trying to sabotage the energy shield? The next chapter is set on Malastare, and this is my favorite part of the game because it's full of Sebulbas with guns, which they hold with their feet. Crispy
Yeah, it's such a great detail that you see them holding them with their feet.
Dug, anyone? Look, there's one.
The platforming is painful though.
One inside the house. Now this is why you should invest in double glazing. And this is the great thing about this game. Almost every level has some kind of tie-in or Easter egg to the movies. That's it, good doggy. Wait, no, don't go after me. Ah, the Death Stick Factory. Did anyone else used to get stuck on this slide section? The game's penultimate chapter takes place on Tatooine. It starts with a shootout in the streets of Mos Eisley before moving to the Tusken settlement. Stupid sand dogs, you can't get me on this rock. Never mind. Alright, time to make Anakin proud. Oh, look,
I really haven't tried the flamethrower much. I should do
God
that.
is so fat, she casts a second shadow. The final Tatooine level has you escape
That's hilarious. She casts a second
the
shadow.
Grey Dragon. Also, get a load of this moonwalking Gamorrean.
I love that they kept some of these glitches and things in it. It just makes it more fun.
Again, the remaster definitely hasn't patched out some of the jank. The final chapter takes place on
But
this
that's fun.
planet filled with zombies, which always used to creep me out as a kid. These final few levels really did crank up the difficulty, so get ready to use all of your special weapons and see this screen a lot. All of the bonus content from the original game is still present in the remaster, like the comic book, the trading cards, and the blooper reel. Plus, there is an optional Boba Fett skin, which is something that was absent from the original. And so, there we have it, the original Bounty Hunter compared to the remaster. Overall, I think this is one of the better Aspire remasters, but the original version of the game is still available on the PlayStation Store.
Yeah,
which
that's the
poses
thing.
Question, is the remaster worth paying the extra money for? Well, I really think it depends on what you want from the game. If you're happy with the old school controls and graphics, then stick to the original. But if you're the type to appreciate the modern control set and visual flourishes, then definitely give the remaster a try. But that's just my take. Please let me know your thoughts on the Bounty Hunter remaster in the comments below. As always, thanks for watching. Please consider supporting me on Patreon, and a big thanks to all my existing patrons. Also, if you've enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe.
So there's really not much difference. I'm glad that there are some more graphical changes. I wasn't aware of those. But I guess that's what you want in a remaster, is they make the graphics a bit better. They change the controls. It's basically a remaster, like everything you want. They don't take out too much. They stay true to the original, and that's one of the best things. Like, if you go away from what the original was, like, you patch out the jank, then you're starting to turn it into a remake instead of a remaster. But yeah, okay. I'll see if I notice anything else. Like, even in the video, I noticed he didn't mention that you can pause time and swap weapons. Which, as far as I know, you can't do in the original. So, it'll be interesting.